I think if I'd never found Knit Stars, I wouldn't feel a connection to people. I signed up totally oblivious. My first thought was, I'm not a good enough knitter for this. I'm not going to be able to do any of these things. They do such a good job of walking you through, and there's so much of it too that feels sometimes less about knitting and more about relationships. Well, I live in a log cabin in the woods with no high-speed internet service. Because of that, I was able to go and download everything to an external drive. So sometimes I'll just plug in my drive and watch Knit Stars. It's kind of like having friends over, and I feel like I'm not alone. It's not about technique. It's about personalities and relationships and learning things besides how to knit and purl and increase and decrease. I was a conservative, safe knitter, and now I'm much more adventurous and willing to step outside of my comfort zone. I had a wonderful, wonderful grandmother, but patience was not one of her virtues. And she knit, and she tried to teach me to knit. And every time she tried, it ended up with her storming out of the room going, "You're never going to be able to do this," because I would knit so tight. So every time I pick up my needles, I think of her. I actually feel this relief because she didn't think I would ever be able to do it. And so I wish she had been around to see that I was able to figure it out. And I think what I was missing prior to Knit Stars was that community feel. My favorites are the ones where we get to see the sheep on the farm. Those are like my favorites because that's that circle of life from hoof to needle. Everybody's personality just came out and you felt like you had this army behind you. It made the world so much smaller because we were all over the country, going to all these different places, but it was all sitting in my living room, all with those people hanging out with me. I just all of a sudden went, wow, this world is so small. We can reach out and touch everything, and I could do it again and again. Knitting was a project to start and complete, and now it's become much more of an expression. It really has opened things up, gives you the freedom to do things that you never typically would.